Hi everybody, welcome back to Mentour and yet another video podcast. As always, I hope you're all doing fantastic. Today, I am going to answer a question that I'm getting quite frequently on the channel, which is what qualities do you need in order to succeed in the airline business? All right. I'm going to attack this from the point of view of a new pilot getting into the business. So not from a generic how are you as a great pilot, as more from what you need in terms of personal qualities before you even start your training. All right. So I would say that the first thing that you need is a clear view of your goal together with determination and stamina. Okay. And why do I say that? Why is that considered to be extra important? Well, the fact is that in order for you to get through your training and to succeed finding a job, you are probably going to experience significant high points and also some potential low points. Okay, you might have really successful outcomes in your training, your skill test, but you might also fail the occasional progress check or skill check. And it's also the fact that you are continuously, in the beginning at least, if you're not being sponsored by someone, having to pay a lot of money, and financially that can put quite a bit of a strain on you. So you need to keep your goal in focus and you need to persevere even if you feel that things are not going exactly your way. So determination and stamina is extremely important to have in order to succeed in this business. And also, once you have succeeded with your training, it might take you only a month to get a job, but it might take you years to find your first job as well. So once again, stamina is going to be one of those qualities that you really need. You cannot be a quitter if you're going to get into this business, because it is, in the beginning, a fairly hard world out there. So remember that when you face some of these difficulties, remember what the end goal is and continue work and strive towards that goal. All right, so that's number one. Then academic qualifications and languages is other things that you are going to need to succeed. Now, I've already made a podcast on this subject. For example, from the UK point of view, you are going to need some good GCSEs. Or the equivalent, which is like the secondary school certificates. You will probably need a couple of A levels as well, and you should focus to try to be doing these in physics, mathematics, well, the natural sciences basically, and English if you can. Okay. There might be a good idea to go for a university, and I'm saying might because it's not a requirement in all airlines, but it is a requirement in some airlines. So before you decide whether or not you want to go in and take a university degree or not, you should probably look up the airlines that are your target airlines and see what kind of qualifications they require you to have. Another good idea is to contact some of the bigger training organizations like CTC or Oxford Aviation in the UK. Just go into their website and have a look and see what kind of general requirements when it comes to academic qualifications you need to have before you start your training. Another good idea when it comes to taking a university degree is, since I said that this is a hard business to get into and not everyone actually finds a job, it's always good to have some kind of a backup plan. Okay, so a university degree will give you just that. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a university degree with pointed towards aviation. I would say do something that you feel is interesting and that you would like to do, like to have. And most airlines will just need you to have a degree, not a specific degree in a specific field. So if you feel like you want to be a botanist or something like that, then you can do a degree in that, then good. At least you have some kind of backup in case your aviation dream would fail for whatever reason. You might be out walking and you get a stick in your eye and suddenly you don't have the eyesight needed in order to be a pilot. Then you need some kind of backup plan. And this also brings me into the next area that I'm getting a lot of questions about, and that is, am I too old to become a pilot when I'm 25 or 30 years old? And the fact is that airlines, but also yourself, should appreciate the fact that life quality is a school in itself. So if you have done something else before you go in and start your airline career, it's a good thing. You know, if you worked as an insurance salesman or as a doctor or as a nurse or as a firefighter or whatever, it's going to be good because it will give you a view of how the world actually looks. It's really hard for a student that's just coming out of their initial schooling and going straight into the airline business to know how commercial pressures feel, how does it feel to have to meet a deadline, what does it feel when a company is downsizing. All of that you will learn through the school of life. So it is not a bad thing to wait a few years and do something else before you start your training, and you're absolutely not too late. Okay, so if you feel that you want to do something else or you want to do a university degree or something, do not feel the time pressure to get into the airline business. It will take you around 2 to 3 years to do this training. Maybe a little bit longer if you're doing it modular way, maybe a little bit shorter if you're doing an intense integrated course. But it's not like becoming a lawyer or a doctor, which will take you 5, 6, 7 years. Okay, so keep that in mind. Language skills, it's a good idea to have good language skills. Skills in English is essential. You need to be able to communicate and write well in English. But it might also be a good idea to have a second language. So if English is your first language, then try to get a second language, because it's going to broaden the amount of available jobs out there. Most airlines, especially flag carriers, will require you to speak both English and also language of the country where the company is from. So if you're working for Scandinavian Airlines system, they'll want you to speak a kind of Scandinavian language. If you're working for a Spanish airline, they are likely to want you to speak Spanish as well. So if you speak 2 or 3 languages, it means that there's just so many more companies that you will be able to apply to. So language skills, a good thing. Then comes maybe the most important skills of all. Well, the 2 of them, but people skills. Guys, you are going to have to deal with a lot of people under fairly stressful situations. So the way that you are when it comes to working in a team and handle things under pressure in a crew resource management effective way is going to be crucial for if you are going to be successful in this world or not. The airline assessments are going to look quite hard at this. They will see how your skills are, as in how your stick and rudder skills are and your knowledge level, but they will also want to see someone that they would like to work with, someone that is is funny, relaxed, and works well under pressure. So people skills, absolutely essential. You need to be aware that the environment that you are going to work under is fairly rule-based. So you need to be able to work well and have fun in an environment that is highly focused on checklist discipline and rules and regulations. Okay, so you need to know that before you get into the business. Flexibility, guys. The next essential skill that you need to have. Why do I say that? Because in this business, especially the way that the world works nowadays, flexibility is absolutely crucial. You need to be flexible in working hours. You need to be flexible in schedules, working on public holidays, working on hours that other people probably wouldn't work, working on weekends, things like that. You also need to be flexible in where you are going to live with you and your family. Because the fact is that nowadays the first job that you are going to take might not be in your hometown or even in your home country. It might be far away, it might be in a different part of the world. So you need to, when you get into this business, you need to know and understand that you might have to be flexible of where you're going to live and all of the other things that I said as well. You might be able to get back to your home country eventually when you've gained enough experience, or if you work for an airline that have bases in your home country. But initially, you can expect that you are going to have to move and you're going to have to adapt to the situation in order to get that precious first job. All right, so flexibility, also really important. Then decision-making abilities and management skills. Most airlines, when they look for first officers, when they employ first officers, they're not actually employing first officers. They're employing potential captains. So they will be looking for how you are dealing with decision-making. You should have a fairly structured way of dealing with problems. So you should be able to perceive what a problem is. You should be able to gather information. You should be able to decipher the information to find what part of the information is most interesting and important. Share that information with another crew member. Discuss it. Come to a decision of what to do. Execute that decision, and continuously as you go along evaluate that decision to see, did we take in all the facts, have we thought of everything, and if you come to a decision later on that no, actually now the prerequisites for doing this has changed, then you might have to change that decision. But the process of dealing with decision making should be very, very structured and logical and not feel forced. All right. You also need to be able to self-monitor yourself. And what I mean with that is that you need to be self-critical, basically. So we need for our pilots to realize that they can make mistakes, because we have yet to employ a single pilot that doesn't do mistakes. Everyone does mistakes, okay? But we need to be aware of our strengths and weaknesses. And based on those, we need to evaluate what we're doing and how we're doing it, and supplement our weaknesses with our colleagues. So if I feel that that someone else can do something better than me, then I'm going to ask the help from that person and use the whole team to build an effective team organization. Okay, airlines are not looking for someone who thinks that they are the lost son of Chuck Yeager. Okay, they want to see someone who are skilled, who are well read up, knowledgeable, but also aware of their own weaknesses and aware how to use the team environment to the best possible outcome. In order to do that, you need to be a good communicator. So communication skills, also really important. You need to, if you see something's wrong, you need to be able to communicate that in an effective way. And you need to also be able to suck information out of your colleagues and in order to get as much information to base your decisions on as possible. So this goes back to people skills, good communicator, people skills. These are all kind of intertwined in order to make what would be considered a good pilot. Okay. So back in the old days, a lot of the focus would be on handling skills, actual stick and rudder skills. But today, with the complex airplanes we're flying, which is a lot about human interactions with the machine, these kind of people skills, communication skills, decision-making skills become more and more important, and it's probably the most important skill that you will have now, together with, of course, the fact that you need to be a serious person. You need to be able to portray yourself well, and what I mean with that is that you have to look the part. I talked about this in my video about uniforms. So you are expected to look the part when you come for an airline interview and when you come for an interview with a flight school. I get a lot of questions about tattoos, if you can have tattoos or not. And here the rules differ. Some airlines do not approve it. Most airlines approve them, but you have to be able to cover them up. So if you have tattoos on the arms or the upper arms, something like that, generally, if that can be covered by a long sleeve or a short sleeve uniform shirt, it tends not to be a problem. But if you have a tattoo that goes up your neck and up into your face, it's probably not going to work, because as an airline pilot, you need to be perceived by the public who's traveling as someone they can trust. And those kind of attributes projects a picture which is different from what the airlines want to kind of portray themselves as for the general public. You need to be able to handle stress. But all of those things, I mean, when it comes to those things, which I've said many times, you need to go through one of these suitability tests before you start your training. And if you're successful in those suitability tests, it means that the airline psychologists have deemed that those part of your skills, this capability to handle stress and do multiple things at a time, you have them. So all of the others is something that you need to know. And this is really important, guys. I really hope that this answers your questions of the kind of personal treats that you need to have before you start your training. If you have more questions on this, then please send it in. And as always, like the video if you like it, put your comment in, tell me what you thought of it, give more suggestions of what you would like me to cover in future videos, and share this video on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, whatever you can think of, because it really helps the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.